Hi, in this lesson we will talk about Viking ships. You can't really talk about Vikings without mentioning the Viking ships. These were the vessels that brought the Vikings all over the world. Viking ships were the vessels used by the Vikings. Viking ships were the vessels used by the Scandinavians for various purposes, such as trade, exploration, warfare, and colonization from the 8th to the 11th century CE. They were known for their unique design, which featured a slender and flexible hull, a symmetrical bow and stern, and true keel. They were also clinker built, meaning that the planks overlapped and riveted each other. Viking ships were adapted to different environments and needs, and could navigate both coastal and open waters, as well as rivers and estuaries. There were several types of Viking ships, each with its own characteristics and functions. Some of the most common types were launch ships. These were the warships of the Vikings, used for raiding and naval battles. They were fast, agile, and maneuverable, and could carry up to 60 warriors. They had a single mast with a square sail and many oars along the sides. They often had a dragon or serpent head at the prow, which could be removed when entering friendly waters. Longships varied in size and shape, depending on the region and period. Some examples of longships are the Gokstad ships, the Scafald ship, and the Roskilde ship. Nars. These were the cargo ships of Vikings, used for long-distance trade and voyages. They were larger, wider, and deeper than longships, and could carry up to 24 tons of goods. They had a single mast with a square sail, but fewer oars than longships. They were more stable and seaworthy than longships and could cross the Atlantic Ocean. Nars were instrumental in the colonization of Iceland, Greenland, and Newfoundland. Some examples of Nars are the Skaldalef ship and the Hedeby ship. Curves. These were the smaller ships of the Vikings, used for coastal travel and fishing. They were similar to longships, but shorter and narrower, and could carry up to 16 people. They had a single mast with a square sail and several oars. They were versatile and easy to handle and could be used for both peaceful and military purposes. An example of curves is the Skaldalef ship. The Vikings built their ship using simple tools such as axes, adzes, chisels, hammers, drills, and knives, but they used them in sophisticated ways. They followed the grain of the wood to get the most strength and flexibility for the lowest weight. They used mainly oak for the hull planks, but also pine, ash, elm, and linden for other parts of the ship. They used iron nails and rivets to fasten the planks together, and tarred woolen or animal hair to seal the gaps between them. They also used ropes made of hemp or animal hide to rig the sails and steer the rudder. The process of building a Viking ship involved several steps. The master shipbuilder would set the design for the ship by carving out the keel, stem, and stern post from large logs. The woodworkers would split logs into planks using axes and wedges. The planks would be shaped using axes and adzes to fit the curvature of the hull. The planks would be attached to each other using nails and rivets in an overlapping pattern. The frame would be inserted into the hull to support it. The mast would be erected on a wooden block in the center of the ship. The sail would be made of wooden cloth dyed with natural colors. The rudder would be attached to the stern post using ropes. The dragon head or the decoration would be carved and painted on the prow or stern. A Viking ship could take several months to build depending on its size and complexity. It required a lot of skill, craftsmanship, and teamwork from the builders. Some of the most famous Viking ships are the Oseberg ship. This is one of the best preserved Viking ships ever found. It was discovered in a burial mound near Tønsberg in Norway in 1904. It dates back to around 820 and is believed to have been used as a royal yacht or a ceremonial vessel. It is richly decorated with carvings of animals and mythical creatures. It was buried with two women who may have been queens or priestesses. It is now displayed at the Viking Ship Museum in Oslo. The Klostad ship, this is another well-preserved Viking ship that was found in a burial mound near Sandefjord in Norway in 1892. It dates back to around 900 CE, and it is thought to have been used as a merchant transport ship. It is simpler and less ornate than the Oseberg ship, but still has some carvings of animals and geometric patterns. It was buried with a man who may have been a wealthy trader or a chieftain. It is now displayed at the Sandefjord Museum. The Gokstad ship, this is the largest and most impressive Viking ship ever found. It was discovered in a burial mound near Sandefjord in Norway in 1880. It dates back to around 890 CE and is believed to have been used as a warship or an expedition ship. It is sleek and sturdy and could sail at speed up to 12 knots. It was buried with a man who may have been a king or a warrior. It is now displayed at the Viking Ship Museum in Oslo. Viking ships were not only means of transportation, but also symbols of power and prestige. They reflected the culture and values of the Vikings, who were adventurous, courageous, and skilled seafarers. They also played a key role in the expansion and influence of the Viking world, which spanned from Scandinavia to Europe, Asia, and North America. Finally, we are going to take a look at some Norwegian words. First, we have the English word, and then we have the Norwegian translation. So, the first word is Viking, which in Norwegian is Viking. English, ship. Norsk, skip. English, sail. Norwegian, seil. Axe, øks. Hammer, hammer. Rope, rep or tau. Wool, ull. Dragon, drage. Rudder, ror. Plank, planke. Tree, tre. Keel, kjøl.